Hello, welcome students. So let us start again our continuing discussion on different kind of system administration tasks which performed by the system administrator. And till now we have discussed some of the important tasks like super user or root login, etc. Now let us start our discussion about some other system administration topics. First we will discuss about the date, which is setting about the system date. Now previously we have used date command as a passive command to display the system date simply. That means as a normal user only you can able to see the system date just for displaying the date, but as a non-privileged user or as a common user in the system, you do not have the capacity to or do not have the permission to set the date or change the date. To set or change the system date, you have to have the root access or super user access. Now when the it have to be noted that this date command will act in different way when used by a normal or non-privileged user. It will act in some way, and when used by the privileged user or root user, then it will act in some different way, means in more elaborate way. So first what is the format of the date, we can see that the argument, that means whenever you give the command you have to pass some argument whenever you will run this command as a root or super user, and whenever you will give an argument it will be generally 8 character string of the form mmdd. Means hours and minutes, so month 2 digit, date 2 digit, hour 2 digit, minute 2 digit. In this form it will be given, and here you can see, for example, here we have given a date, suppose first 0106 means mmdd, so first that is month, then date 06, then time 2020, that means actually it is 6 January and it is 2020 ist. 2020 is the system year which we are not setting, and the Unix system generally continue to understand the century for some time, for some example up to 2018 or like that at least, or even after that also the year it will understand. Now here one important thing have to be noted. Let us move to the next page. Here one thing you have to be noted, that the date should be very reasonably accurate, because the cron scheduler, one of the scheduler, that is cron scheduler, uses the clock time to run jobs, and this clock time means system date time. It will take the clock time for system date, and you have to be much more careful because many of the system administration jobs internally will follow the system date and time. So system administrator especially have to be very cautious to set the date in the system. Now let us discuss another one next task which can be performed by the system administrator, that is U limit. This U limit means it is for setting limits on the file size. That means so generally what happens, any erroneous program or faulty program or any type of negligence regarding the storage space management will quickly eat up the disk space uh, in the system. Very quickly it can exhaust the storage disk space. That's why the ulimit command is there. Using this ulimit command and this ulimit will be built in almost all of the shells. It will file built-in command. This command imposes actually restriction on the maximum size of a file that a user is permitted to create. So there will be a maximum file size restriction which a user will be permitted to create. Beyond that size, if user tried to create a file, it will not be allowed. And here one important thing you have to note, that an ordinary user, who is an ordinary user means non-privileged user, he can only reduce the setted default size of the U limit, that means default value of the U limit. Default value means which is the maximum size. So an ordinary or non-privileged user only can reduce that value but cannot increase that value. Only the super user can increase that value. So this is an important thing to be noted. And here we can see that an example, that U limit 20971510, that is, it is in mega actually it is an maximum file size specification, and that is measured in 512 byte blocks. Now let us move to the next page here. Now it is often placed in etc such profile so that every user has to work under this restriction. That's why this type of mentioning or default value placed in this etc profile directory. And in some other system it can show some different value, and some other system it can show default as unlimited value. So it will vary from system to system. Now next we can discuss about controlling use of AT and cron. So these two commands are there uh, by which we also can perform any type of task. Now the access to use of AT and batch is restricted and controlled by the files at.allow and at.deny. This both of the files present in /etc slash cron.d, and in some file system also it is in many of the Linux system it is present in /etc. Now if at.allow is present, only users listed in the file are permitted to use AT and batch. That means which users are listed, that means authorized, only those are permitted to use uh, these two comment, and if it is not present in the in the file, then the system will check at 80.deny another directory is there for user who are prohibited or barred from using these commands, and if nothing is present, then only the system administrator is permitted to invoke these two commands, AT and batch. Let us move to the next page. And the cron scheduler actually used by the administrator to make commands like find and do to compile useful information about the system, or for automating the backup operations. So the cron is also a very important scheduler, and it is used by the administrator to make the this command. If used find or du like command, those commands have to be compiled useful information about the system before use. And like AT and batch, the authorization to use it is controlled in identical manner by two files, that is cron.allow and cron.deny, which is situated in /etc/cron.d and in maximum Linux system in /etc. So in this session of lecture we are discussing up to this much, and rest other topics again will discussed in the continuing in next session of lectures when it will come. For this moment, up to this point, we are concluding here. So thank you.